Hello, welcome to Kitchen Basics 101, where I teach you the bare bone basics as if you've never cooked a day in your life from the perspective of a mom. I love this question and I've been giving it a little bit of thought. I'm going to try to do beginner's chili as best that I can. Chili is one of those things that is like controversial, subjective. There's bean people, there's no bean people, there's spicy people, there's sweet people, there's heavy veg, heavy tomato. There's a lot of options in chili. We're going to make one. We could probably make more options, but I'm going to talk through some of the things you could change or alter based on your taste. The things that I'm going to do today that I don't always do is sometimes I use just ground beef, but I picked up this hot Italian sausage, which I haven't tried yet. So I thought chili's the perfect place for it because usually chili's a little bit spicy. So I'm going to incorporate this hot sausage into it and we'll see how we like it. Substitutions here, you could do ground turkey, you could do ground whatever, ground chicken, ground turkey. It doesn't have to be ground beef. You do not have to add pork sausage. You could add plain pork sausage. You could add breakfast. You could add Italian. You could leave it out. It doesn't really matter. Chili, again, some people are going to say beans or no beans. To me, chili is like beans, meat, and a tomato sauce with a little bit of heat and maybe a little bit of like sweetness. And my cast iron, I swear it's not dirty. It's just really old and really beat up and really stained. We're going to start off with a little bit of olive oil. You know I love my croissant, or however you say it. Put our meat in and start breaking it apart so that we can brown it up. Let's hope we don't regret this hot sausage. She smells pretty hot. We'll see. It's very important to season as you go. So I'm going to put a little bit of salt, not too much because I did use sausage. Our meat is pretty much all browned up. And now I'm going to pull it out of here and transfer it into a heat-safe bowl. That was 2 pounds of ground beef and 1 pound of sausage. Now, some people drain this liquid and you're more than welcome to do that. Me personally, I think that's flavor, so I'm not going to drain it. Anyone who's been on this channel for more than a second, you know that I don't like onion. So I'm going to dice it up, fairly small, but I don't even really have to because I'm going to put it in a food processor, to be honest. So if you like onions and you like peppers, you can do onions and like green pepper and not do a small dice, do like a chunky dice or do a small dice. It's completely up to you. For me, I guess I should have used the big cutting board. I'm getting it all over the counter. For me, I'm just going to put it in the food processor. So it's really not going to matter, okay? People ask me all the time about the crying with onions. And apparently it's the type of onion because that was a sweet onion and my eyes are burning. So this is my picky eater tip because I cannot stand onions, but they're like the base of so many things. Just pulverize them. Okay, I put my pulverized, which for you can just be diced onions, into the drippings from my meat. And I'm just going to cook them up. Obviously, mine are going to cook quicker because they're pulverized. So if you're using just chopped onion, then you're going to probably have to cook this for a little bit longer. We're going to get our seasonings together because we're going to sort of toast the seasonings a little bit also in that pan. So I'm going to use a teaspoon of pepper, smoked paprika. Again, all of these seasonings are really personal preference. I'm going to put a teaspoon of smoked paprika. I might end up putting a little more. Now I'm going to use a chili powder blend, which has just using chili powder on its own. Then you would want to add those things, right? Oregano, coriander, garlic. But I like this blend, so I'm going to use it. I'm going to use like 4-ish teaspoons. But again, this is totally like a personal preference thing. How chili, ooh, that was a little much. How chili do you want your chili, right? Because the chili powder, depending on which one you use, might have a little kick. This one does not have a kick. So nothing in this seasoning is hot because I'm using the hot sausage. I don't want it to be hot. I'm going to put a tablespoon of brown sugar in here. It's not going to make it sweet. Obviously, we have pounds of meat. It's just going to add a little bit of sweetness to break up. And I'm also going to put a teaspoon of salt. I'm going to give our little seasoning blend a mix. I'm going to put a smidge more brown sugar, actually. I did 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. Just giving those seasonings a little bit of a mix. All right, so our seasonings are ready. Our garlic is ready. All right, I'm gonna prep some of the toppings while we wait for things to cook. I love this cheese grater because blocks of cheese like this are much cheaper than buying it already shredded. But also, there's like anti-caking agents in the shredded cheese that sometimes will throw your recipes off. I had suggestions from people that I should put the cheese in the freezer for a minute before I grated it. And I really should have done that because then I could have showed you how like incredibly easy, but of course it got clogged up on me. Anyways, it's my favorite thing ever. And you can do like hard cheeses and stuff with it too. So that's one topping. We're also gonna do some sour cream. I'm just gonna put 3 of these cubes, 1 cube because 1 clove, 3 cubes of this garlic in here. You're just gonna cook the garlic until it becomes fragrant, which happens pretty quick, like usually within a minute. Again, this looks a little different because I blended up the onions. So if you left the onions whole, this is gonna look a lot more familiar than it does right now. We're gonna add our seasoning blend in here. And we're just gonna give them a little bit of a cook. Kind of toast them up a little bit, which is just gonna, you know, enhance their flavor, bring out all the flavors. All right, now we're starting to look like a chili base. Again, I'm just gonna cook that till it becomes fragrant, which it is. And now I'm gonna put in my tomato paste. I like to clear a spot for the tomato paste, but I'm holding the camera so I can't. So I'm just gonna put, I don't know, maybe a half a can worth of tomato paste in there. And we're just gonna give that also a little toast and cook. You can see that liquid is being both steamed away and also being used to just incorporate all these delicious flavors together. So that's why I left the liquid in. Now we're gonna add 2 15-ounce cans of, this is tomato sauce. Don't pitch the can quite yet. We're gonna rinse the can out. So that's 2 of those. Now, some people add beef broth, and if you want this to be more beef forward, you could definitely add beef or vegetable broth here. I'm gonna just stick with tomato for mine. I rinsed 1 can into the other can just to try to rinse the cans out a little bit. And I added 1 can of water. For this part, you can use chopped tomatoes. You can use Rotel. I just happen to always have these peeled tomatoes. You know, we're an Italian household here. So I'm just gonna add these. They're gonna break apart as we cook. I'm not too worried about it. I bought these chili beans. Usually I use Brooks hot chili beans, but I couldn't find any. These are pinto beans in a chili sauce. So obviously if you strain them, you will strain out the chili sauce. So listen, some people no beans for chili. That's totally fine. If you want beans, we're gonna add 2 cans here. I'm all the way to the tippy top of my pot here. Now you add the meat back in and gently give it a stir. All right, we're gonna let this come up to a simmer and then we're gonna cover, turn it down to low and cook it for like 1 to 4 hours, or as long as you want. The longer you cook it, the more everything starts to marry and get rich and delicious. All right, she's been bubbling away. I've left the lid on, but like just a tiny little vent for like 2 hours, but I'm gonna let her cook longer. I want it to get thicker. A little sour cream, and then here's our container of cheese, which I always shred into a container so that we can use it, and then if we don't use it all, I mean, look at that. Let's give it a taste. Dairy helps cut through the spiciness. Oh, it's hot. Oh my God, cheddar cheese changes everything. Oh, it's so good. Not too spicy, not too tomatoey. I definitely love it with the cheddar cheese on top. So hearty. 10 out of 10 recommend. Oh, I got a little kick now in the back of my throat. A little bit of the spicy. But again, you don't have to use the spicy sausage. But I kind of like it. I think it's good. It's probably going to give me indigestion. But it's delicious. Especially on a cold winter day. Wish I had a hunk of cornbread, but I didn't make it. Leftover, it'll be even better tomorrow.